Every empire believed its money would last forever. Every government promised their currency was safe. But history proves they were wrong. From Rome to Lebanon, from silver coins to paper dollars, money always dies. And when it does, it happens fast. Let me tell you a true story. In 1923 Germany, during a hyperinflation, a woman lit her fireplace with stacks of money. Why? Because the cash in her hands was worth less than firewood. I know it sounds unbelievable. That wasn't just paper burning, it was trust, and it was gone. So here's the uncomfortable question. Can our money die? What about the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, even the euro? What does history actually tell us? Because one thing has always survived, and it's not what most people think. Let's dive in. The dangerous illusion of money. Most people never question money. We just assume it's solid, reliable, and permanent. But here's the truth. Money isn't real value. It's just a promise or trust. And when that trust breaks, money evaporates. We look at our bank balances and think we're safe. But history tells us a different story. The Roman Empire once had the most trusted currency in the world, the Silver Denarius. It was real silver until it wasn't. Over time, emperors began secretly mixing in cheaper metals. The coins went from 95% silver to just 2%. In the end, people called it silver, but it was basically worthless junk metal. And eventually, they stopped trusting it. That trust, gone. That currency, dead. Sound familiar? Let's fast forward to something more recent. Lebanon. In 2019, the country's financial system just stopped working. Banks literally locked their doors. People woke up to find their life savings frozen. They couldn't withdraw their own money. The Lebanese pound collapsed, losing over 90% of its value, and a lifetime of hard work, smart saving, and financial planning, gone. So let me ask you, if that happened to them, could it happen here? Because money is not a guarantee, it's just a paper promise. And when that promise is broken, so is the money. What collapse really looks like. Collapse isn't just something from the ancient past. It's not just ruins and dusty coins. Collapse is real. It's happened before and it's happening now. But it doesn't always look like a dramatic implosion. Most of the time, it starts quietly. And then one day, it snaps. Let me show you what I mean. Florence, Italy in the 1340s. Once upon a time, Florence was the financial capital of Europe, the Wall Street of its day. Powerful banks were lending huge sums to royalty, including the King of England. And when they stopped paying, the banks collapsed overnight. Depositors were ruined. Trade froze up. The ordinary person decimated in the shockwave. They thought their savings were safe, but they were wrong. The Black Death in Europe, 1347. This was kind of a different collapse. You know the story. Half of Europe's population gone. But while most people suffered, some actually came out ahead. The people who still had land, goods, or the ability to work were suddenly in demand. Labor was scarce, land was abundant, and those who had liquidity, silver, food, tools, they could buy what others were forced to give up. Why? Because they had things of real value when the system broke down. Not paper, not promises, but real things the world suddenly needed more than ever. Silicon Valley Bank, 2023. Now, this is something more modern. Silicon Valley Bank was one of the largest regional banks, and they collapsed in just 48 hours. Not because it was small, not because it was poorly rated, but because confidence broke. Depositors panicked, withdrew their funds, and the system froze. Billions of dollars were on the line. People who thought, my money's safe in a US bank, found out that even in America, trust can vanish fast. Argentina right now, it's still happening. Inflation in Argentina isn't 200% anymore, but over the past 12 months, it's been over 30% and prices are still rising every single month. People are trying to spend their pesos before they lose more value because next week's grocery bill is always higher. Buy now or pay more later. That's not just a choice, that's survival. Their economy was once one of the strongest in South America. Now, it's a global cautionary tale. Pensions destroyed, savings wiped out, families barely hanging on. This is what collapse really looks like. The one thing that always survives. So what is it? When governments fail, when currencies collapse, what holds value? It's never the paper, it's never the promises, and it's never the institutions that told you, don't worry, everything's fine. But here's what history shows us. In Rome, those who held real silver and land survived. In Florence, it was the merchants with goods, real things. After the Black Death, it was people with liquidity and skills. In Argentina, it's the people who own hard assets or have access to dollars. No matter the time period, no matter the country, real value survives. That means things you can touch, use, or trade. Things that can't be printed, hacked, inflated, or seized with a keyboard. Gold, silver, land, food, skills, relationships, and mobility. That's what outlasts every currency collapse, because those things don't depend on trust in a broken system. They're useful even when trust is gone. The people who survive aren't the ones with the most digits in their account. They're the ones holding something real, something the system can't take away. What can you do today? Or should I say, what you can do today? You don't need to panic, you don't need to go off the grid, but you do need to start thinking differently. Start building real value, not just paper savings. If everything you have is tied up to one currency, one bank, one system, you're exposed. Start thinking in terms of real assets, physical things of value, land or food production, even just cash on hand. These aren't extreme ideas. Think of them as a kind of financial insurance policy. Invest in useful skills. In every collapse, it's the people who can do something useful who come out ahead. Bakers, carpenters, gardeners, problem solvers, communicators. If you can help someone, fix something, build something, you'll always have value. Don't just rely on your job title. Build skills you can use anywhere, under any condition. Get out of bad debt and reduce dependence on broken systems. If you're buried in consumer debt, you're vulnerable. If you're relying entirely on government programs or fragile institutions, you're trusting a system that may not show up when you need it most. Now look, I know this is all easier said than done. I'm not pretending it's simple, because it's not. Life is expensive, inflation is real. Sometimes just keeping your head above water is a win. I get it. But do what you can, start small, even if all you do today is think differently. That's a step. And honestly, that shift in thinking could save your life. Throughout history, every empire thought their money would last. Every government swore their system was safe. But when trust breaks, money dies. And the people left holding promises lose everything. So maybe don't just rely on promises. Don't assume the system will always work. Instead, hold something real. Real value, real skills, real assets that no one can print or take away. Because collapse isn't just about destruction. It's about transfer from the many who trusted to the few who prepared. This channel is here to empower you in your financial journey with tax tips, business guidance, and alternative financial insights the mainstream won't touch. And if you found value in this video and want to support the channel, please consider being a channel member or supporting me on Patreon. It really helps me to continue making videos like this one and you get early access to my videos as well. The links are down below, and thank you to those who've already signed up. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.